Patience is the skill every trader thinks they have until the moment they actually need it. In the calm moments when the market is quiet or when you are not in a trade, patience seems easy. You tell yourself you will wait for the perfect setup. You tell yourself you will follow your rules. You tell yourself you will not rush into anything. But all of that confidence disappears the moment the chart begins to move. Suddenly, every candle feels important. Every tiny push looks like the beginning of a major trend. Every flicker of momentum feels like a warning that if you do not act now, you will miss everything. And in that moment, patience is no longer a skill. It becomes a battle. It becomes a fight against your instincts, your emotions, your impulses. It becomes the line between the trader you want to be and the trader you currently are. Patience is not about waiting passively. It is a mindset. It is an understanding of how the market behaves and how you behave in response to it. Most traders think impatience is a trading flaw, but it is really a human flaw that gets amplified by the environment of the market. The market moves constantly, and your brain interprets movement as opportunity. Your brain thinks movement means action. It tells you that if something is happening, you must react. But trading is not about reacting. It is about choosing when not to react. It is about learning that most movement is meaningless noise designed to tempt you into making mistakes. The market will always move faster than your patience if you let it. The key is not to let it. Every trader has experienced the pain of entering too early. You saw the potential. You believed in the direction. You felt the energy in the chart, but you did not wait for confirmation. You did not wait for the retest. You did not wait for the candle to close. And because you entered before the setup was ready, the market punished you by hitting your stop loss and then moving exactly where you thought it would go. You were not wrong. You were early. And being early is one of the most expensive habits a trader can have. When you enter early, you put your trade in the danger zone. This is the area where the market collects liquidity, manipulates traders, creates fake breakouts, and generates wicks that hunt stops. This region is full of uncertainty and noise. It is where the market shakes out the impatient traders before delivering the real move. When you jump in at the first sign of movement, you are stepping into the path of the manipulation, rather than waiting for the manipulation to finish. You are placing yourself exactly where the market wants you because the market feeds on impatient traders. Patience protects you from this danger. Waiting lets the setup mature. A setup is not defined by the first candle that moves in your direction. A setup is defined by a sequence of events the market goes through before the move is validated. A break without a retest means nothing. A push without rejection means nothing. A candle shape without structure behind it means nothing. Movement alone is not a signal, it is bait. Traders who fall for it do so because impatience tells them that waiting feels riskier than entering. But the truth is that entering prematurely is far riskier than waiting. Patience gives you clarity. When you wait, you begin to see the truth of the market rather than the illusion the market presents to lure emotional traders. You see that the first breakout is often false. You see that the aggressive candle is often engineered to trap traders. You see that the retest is what matters. You see that the rejection tells the true story. The more you wait, the less confused you feel. Clarity emerges naturally when the noise settles and the market reveals its intention. But the impatient trader never gets to see that clarity because impatience blinds them with urgency. Impatience is a form of fear. It is the fear of missing out. It is the fear of not catching the move. It is the fear of watching the market run without you. It is the fear that if you do not act now, you will lose your chance. But the truth is, the market offers endless chances. Every day new setups form. Every week new opportunities appear. The market is infinite and patient traders always find new entries. But your account is not infinite. And every time impatience convinces you to enter early, it costs you money, energy, and confidence. Patience also changes the emotional experience of a trade. When you enter from a place of fear or urgency, you hold the trade with anxiety. You watch every candle, you doubt the setup. You question your plan. You react to every pullback as if it is a threat. But when you enter with patience, your entire emotional experience of the trade shifts. You feel steady. You feel calm. You feel aligned with your plan. A patient entry creates a patient hold. An impatient entry creates an emotional hold. One leads to consistency, the other leads to chaos. Patience is the foundation of confidence. You do not build confidence by taking more trades. You build confidence by respecting your own rules. Every time you wait for your setup to fully form, you reinforce your belief in your ability to stay disciplined. Every time you skip a bad trade, you strengthen your trust in your strategy. Every time you allow the market to show you what it wants to do instead of guessing, you build confidence in your skills. Confidence does not come from winning trades, it comes from patient behavior. Wins reinforce confidence, but patience builds it. Patience also protects your account from unnecessary drawdown. Most drawdown comes not from your best setups failing, but from your worst impulses being acted upon. Revenge trades, boredom trades, frustration trades, overtrades, trades taken out of hope instead of logic. These are the trades that destroy accounts, and all of them come from impatience. If you simply waited until you were calm and clear, you would avoid most of the damage you have experienced in your trading journey. Patience is account protection. It is risk management in psychological form. There is a powerful truth every trader eventually learns. The market will always test you before it rewards you. It will pull back just to see if you panic. It will wick past your level just to see if you exit. It will consolidate just to see if you get bored. It will fake out just to see if you chase. It will hesitate just to see if you lose faith. The market is a constant psychological exam, and patience is the answer to every question. When you do not react to the test, you pass. And when you pass, the market moves in your favor. Patience also filters out bad trades automatically. You will notice that when you wait for everything to align, most of the low-quality trades fall away on their own. The setups that seemed tempting 10 seconds ago reveal their flaws. The entries that looked urgent no longer feel important. The movements that felt like opportunity reveal themselves to be noise. Patience acts like a sieve. Only the cleanest setups remain after you give the chart enough time to develop. And those are the trades that change your account curve. Waiting is also how you separate your emotions from your decisions. When you force yourself to pause before acting, you create a gap between impulse and action. This gap is where discipline lives. This gap is where logic replaces emotion. This gap is where the trader you want to become has a chance to show up. You do not need more indicators, you need more space between emotion and action. Patience gives you that space. Every trader eventually evolves through stages of patience. In the beginning, you act on impulse. Every movement excites you. Every candle feels like a chance to enter. You are driven by emotion rather than logic. Over time, you begin to study structure and patterns and confirmations, but your impatience still overrides your knowledge. You know what you should do, but you cannot do it consistently. This is the conflict stage. Only when you finally embrace patience do you enter the mature stage where you stop chasing the market and start letting the market come to you. This is where consistency begins. This is where emotional stability emerges. This is where profitability becomes possible. Patience also transforms how you see losses. When you are impatient, every loss feels personal. It feels like the market is attacking you. But when you trade patiently, you understand that losses are simply part of the business. They are not signs of failure. They are not punishments. They are natural outcomes of a probabilistic environment. Patience removes the emotional weight from losses because patience ensures you only take trades that deserve to be taken. When you lose from a place of patience, you do not feel regret. You feel logic. When you lose from impatience, you feel pain because you know you acted against your own standards. Patience reveals the rhythm of the market. When you wait long enough, you begin to see how the market breathes. It expands and contracts. It pushes and pulls. It takes liquidity before giving direction. It tests levels before committing to them. It reveals intentions slowly. When you stop jumping at every movement and instead observe, you begin to understand the rhythm. And once you understand the rhythm, trading stops feeling like chaos and starts feeling like flow. Patience is also about letting go of the need to control the market. You cannot force the market to give you a setup. You cannot make the chart move faster. You cannot bend price to your expectations. The more you try to control the market, the more frustrated you become. Patience is the acceptance that you are not in control and that you do not need to be. Your power does not come from controlling price. Your power comes from controlling yourself. The trader who tries to control the market loses. The trader who controls himself wins. Patience transforms your relationship with time. Impatient traders feel like time is working against them. They think every second they are not in a trade is time wasted. They think success comes from constant activity. But patient traders understand that time is their ally. Time filters out noise. Time reveals intention. Time clarifies structure. Time confirms momentum. The longer you wait, the more information you have. The more information you have, the better your decisions become. Time helps the patient trader. Time hurts the impatient trader. Patience also removes the emotional highs and lows from trading. When you are impatient, every movement triggers you. A little profit makes you euphoric. A small pullback makes you terrified. You are constantly swinging between emotional extremes. But when you trade patiently, those swings disappear. You feel centered. You feel steady. You feel like your emotions are no longer tied to the candles. You trade from a place of emotional neutrality. And emotional neutrality is one of the greatest advantages a trader can have. Patience frees you from the addiction of needing to be in a trade. Most traders are addicted to activity rather than results. They feel uncomfortable when they are not in the market. They feel restless when they are flat. They feel like they are missing something. But trading is not about constant action. Trading is about selective action. Patience breaks the addiction by teaching you that your value as a trader is not measured by how often you trade, but by how well you trade. The market rewards the trader who waits. It rewards the trader who does not rush. It rewards the trader who observes rather than reacts. It rewards the trader who understands that the market moves in cycles and that the best opportunities appear only when the noise clears. Patience positions you to receive those opportunities. Impatience guarantees you miss them. Patience also reshapes how you see profit. In the beginning, traders equate profit with catching big moves or entering at perfect precision or timing every reversal. But as you mature, you realize that profit does not come from predicting the exact moment the market turns. Profit comes from entering after the market has already revealed intention. Profit comes from taking the cleanest part of the move rather than forcing yourself to catch the entire move. Profit comes from choosing quality over quantity. When you wait for confirmation, you may sacrifice a few points of potential entry, but what you gain in stability and clarity far outweighs that cost. You stop needing to be the hero who catches tops and bottoms, and you start becoming the professional who catches the portion of the move that matters. Patience shifts your entire perspective of what reward truly is. Patience also saves you from false urgency. Every trader has felt that sudden pressure to enter a trade because the market appears to be taking off without them. This false urgency is one of the most destructive psychological traps a trader can fall into. The market knows how to manipulate emotion. It knows how to create candles that appear explosive, but have no real foundation behind them. It knows how to create the illusion of momentum before reversing. The impatient trader sees a strong candle and assumes it is the beginning of something meaningful. The patient trader sees the same candle and waits to see if it has real strength behind it. When you wait, you allow the market to reveal which moves are genuine and which moves are traps. You stop falling for the illusion and start acting only on truth. Patience also transforms the way you view the learning process. Most traders treat trading like a race. They want to become profitable immediately. They want to skip the messy part of the journey. They want to avoid the mistakes. They want to jump straight to mastery. But trading mastery does not come from rushing. It comes from repetition, reflection, and patience with yourself. Every mistake you make is information. Every loss teaches you something. Every emotional impulse reveals a pattern in your behavior. You cannot speed through this process. The learning curve is not something you attack aggressively. It is something you move through patiently. The more patient you are with yourself, the faster you learn. The more impatient you are, the longer it takes to make progress. Patience also reduces emotional burnout. Trading drains people emotionally when they are constantly reacting. When every candle feels like it demands a decision, you burn out quickly. Your nervous system becomes overloaded. You start losing the ability to think clearly. You start making impulsive choices you know you should not make. You start trading like a tired version of yourself instead of a sharp version. But when you practice patience, you give yourself emotional space. You give yourself a chance to breathe. You trade less frequently but more intentionally. You preserve your mental energy for moments that matter. This makes trading sustainable rather than exhausting. Patience also teaches you how to detach from outcomes. When you enter a trade impatiently, you become obsessed with the result. You check the chart constantly. You panic during pullbacks. You celebrate too early. You fear every red candle. You treat the trade like a test of your identity. But when you enter with patience, you do not attach your self-worth to the outcome. You know you followed your plan. You know you waited for confirmation. You know you acted correctly. And when you act correctly, the outcome does not control your emotions. This detachment allows you to manage trades calmly instead of emotionally. It protects you from self sabotage during the trade and regret after the trade. Patience reveals how often the market gives you the exact setup you want if you simply wait long enough. Many traders believe their strategy is not producing enough trades because they keep missing opportunities. But the truth is not that there are too few setups. The truth is they take too many low quality trades because they are impatient. When you filter out the noise, you start to realize that your strategy does not need to produce endless setups. It only needs to produce a handful of clean setups each week or even each month. One high quality setup has more value than 10 impulsive trades. Patience helps you focus on the few trades that actually matter, rather than chasing every candle that moves. Patience also makes risk management easier. When you enter impulsively, you often place your stop loss in a vulnerable position. You place it too tight or in the middle of noise. You place it where the market naturally wicks before moving in your direction. This leads to unnecessary losses that chip away at your confidence and your account. But when you wait, your entry becomes more logical. Your stop loss placement becomes more obvious. You choose levels that make structural sense rather than emotional sense. You stop getting tagged out by randomness. You stop giving the market free money. Your risk management becomes part of your strategy instead of an afterthought. The more patient you become, the more you start to enjoy trading. You stop feeling anxious. You stop feeling like you are behind. You stop feeling like you have to make money today. You begin to appreciate the rhythm of the market. You begin to understand the beauty of a setup forming slowly over time. You begin to feel the satisfaction of waiting for the perfect moment to act. Trading becomes peaceful instead of chaotic. You discover that the best trades come when you are calm, not when you are desperate. You see that the market responds to your emotional state. When you are chaotic, the market feels chaotic. When you are still, the market reveals clarity. Patience teaches you to trust yourself. When you enter trades impulsively, you constantly disappoint yourself because deep down you know you acted out of fear or excitement instead of discipline. But when you wait, you build a track record of self-respect. You start to trust your ability to follow your rules. You start to trust your ability to stay calm. You start to trust your ability to make decisions based on logic. That trust becomes one of your strongest trading tools. A trader who trusts themselves does not panic easily. They do not hesitate. They do not question every move. They are steady. They are grounded. They are effective. Patience also gives you control over your narrative. Impatient traders always feel like the market is doing something to them. They feel attacked. They feel unlucky. They feel like they cannot win. But patient traders feel empowered. They understand that the market is not against them. The market simply exists. It is neutral. It does not punish or reward. It responds to behavior. When you behave patiently, the market feels cooperative. When you behave impulsively, the market feels hostile. You control which version of the market you experience. Patience also helps you avoid emotional spirals. Every trader knows the feeling of losing a trade through impatience and then immediately wanting to enter another trade to make it back. This is one of the most destructive cycles in trading. It creates more losses, it destroys discipline, it turns trading into gambling. Patience prevents this because patience teaches you how to pause. It teaches you how to take a breath. It teaches you how to reset emotionally before making your next decision. When you can pause, you can break the spiral. And once the spiral is broken, the path back to consistency becomes much smoother. Patience helps you see the market structure clearly. When you slow down, you notice things you would have missed before. You notice where liquidity sits. You notice where the market is likely to reverse. You notice how price reacts to specific levels. You notice the behavior of candles in your areas of interest. You notice the difference between impulsive movement and true momentum. This deeper level of understanding only becomes available when you stop rushing and start observing. Patience also makes winning feel different. When you win from an impulsive entry, it does not feel satisfying. It feels like luck. It feels unstable. It feels like a win you cannot repeat. But when you win from a patient entry, it feels earned. It feels logical. It feels like something you can replicate again and again. That feeling of repeatability is what builds long-term consistency. It removes doubt. It replaces emotional highs with emotional steadiness. It allows you to build a long-term plan rather than chase short-term excitement. Patience is also a form of emotional maturity. It shows that you understand your triggers. It shows that you can control your impulses. It shows that you can tolerate discomfort. It shows that you can handle uncertainty without needing immediate resolution. These qualities do not just make you a better trader, they make you a stronger person. The patience you build in trading begins to reflect in other parts of your life. You start making calmer decisions. You stop rushing. You stop reacting emotionally. You start responding thoughtfully. Trading becomes a form of emotional training that elevates your entire mindset. Patience helps you recognize when to stay out of the market entirely. Many traders lose the most money during periods when the market is choppy or unclear, but they force trades because they feel obligated to trade. They feel like every day must produce a result. But patient traders know that some days are meant for watching, not acting. Some days are meant for reflection. Some days are meant for learning. Some days are meant for letting the market do whatever it wants without you being involved. When you develop patience, you learn that not trading is often the smartest decision you can make. Patience is the gateway to consistency. Consistency does not come from perfect entries. Consistency does not come from catching massive moves. Consistency does not come from studying 20 different strategies. Consistency comes from behaving the same way every time, acting from the same mindset every day, following the same rules regardless of how you feel. And the foundation of this consistency is patience. If you can wait, you can stay consistent. If you cannot wait, no strategy will save you. Patience also aligns you with the way the market actually works. The market does not rush. The market does not panic. The market does not hurry. It moves at its own pace. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes with intention, sometimes with deception. When you try to force the market to move at your pace, you create tension and frustration. When you move at the market's pace, you create harmony. Patience allows you to sync with the market's rhythm instead of fighting it. Patience helps you exit trades properly as well. Many traders exit too early not because the setup was invalid, but because they were impatient emotionally. They could not tolerate the pullback. They could not sit through consolidation. They could not handle the waiting required for the move to complete. The same impatience that ruins entries also ruins exits. But when you practice patience from the beginning of the trade, you naturally extend that patience into the way you manage and exit trades. This leads to larger wins and fewer premature exits. Patience reveals the separation between noise and signal. The market is full of noise. Most of what you see on the chart is meaningless. It does not predict anything. It does not confirm anything. It does not contribute to the story of the setup. Impatient traders cannot distinguish noise from signal because impatience makes everything feel urgent. Patient traders see the bigger picture. They wait for the signal to emerge from the noise. They act on what matters and ignore what does not. This is one of the most powerful advantages patience gives you. Patience teaches you how to stay grounded in the present moment. Impatient traders live in the future. They rush because they want the future outcome now. They fear missing out because they are imagining what could happen rather than seeing what is happening. They overtrade because they are trying to predict future movement rather than respond to current reality. But patient traders are present. They watch. They breathe. They respond to what the chart is actually showing them instead of what they hope or fear it will show. This presence leads to better decisions. Patience also helps you manage expectations. Many traders expect instant results. They expect the market to reward them quickly. They expect the move to start immediately after they enter. They expect that if the setup is valid, the price should move right away. But this expectation is rooted in impatience. The market often takes time. It often tests the level multiple times before committing. It often moves sideways before moving vertically. When you trade with patient expectations, you stop demanding perfection. You stop demanding speed. You start allowing the market to unfold naturally. The more patient you become, the more you realize that trading is not a game of catching moves. It is a game of avoiding mistakes. Most traders lose money not because they fail to catch the big moves, but because they fail to avoid the bad trades. A trader who only enters high-quality setups and avoids all low-quality setups will naturally perform better than the trader who tries to catch everything. Patience is what turns avoiding mistakes into a core trading skill. Patience also cultivates humility. You begin to understand that you do not control the market. You understand that the market does not owe you anything. You understand that your role is not to force your will onto the chart, but to work within the reality it presents. This humility removes ego. Ego is one of the biggest enemies in trading. Ego wants to be right. Ego wants to predict. Ego wants to control. Ego wants to impress. Patience dissolves ego by teaching you that the market does not care who you are or what you want. It moves without you, and it will move again tomorrow. Patience makes your entire trading plan feel different. When you follow your plan patiently, you begin to notice the patterns in your own behavior. You notice what triggers your impatience. You notice when your emotions rise. You notice which setups require extra caution. You notice how your mindset shifts during different times of day. You learn about yourself. Trading becomes a mirror reflecting your inner world. And with patience, you learn to view that reflection without judgment. You observe it with curiosity and compassion. This leads to emotional growth, which naturally improves your trading performance. Patience also protects you from overexposure to risk. Impatient traders often take multiple trades in the same zone or in the same direction without realizing they are compounding their risk. They feel like they are increasing opportunity, but they are actually increasing danger. Patient traders are deliberate. They enter once, they wait, they let the trade breathe. They do not stack impulsively. This protects their account and their emotional stability. Patience helps you stay aligned with the long-term vision of trading. Trading is not about making money today. It is about becoming the kind of person who can make money consistently over years. It is about transforming your mindset, your discipline, your emotional patterns. It is about learning how to master your reactions. When you focus on the long term, the pressure of the present moment fades. You stop feeling desperate. You stop needing instant gratification. You trade with maturity rather than emotion. Patience is what opens the door to this transformation. Patience also teaches you resilience. When you wait long enough, you begin to see that the market recovers from everything. A sudden spike does not define the trend. A wick does not define the movement. A moment of uncertainty does not define the day. The market is always in motion. It always provides more information with time. When you wait, you become less reactive to every small fluctuation. You develop a steady resilience that allows you to hold your composure no matter what happens on the chart. Patience creates space for wisdom. When you slow down enough to think clearly, you start making decisions from a deeper place. You start understanding not only what the market is doing, but why it is doing it. You start understanding not only what you feel, but why you feel it. Wisdom in trading does not come from studying charts endlessly. It comes from being present, patient, and aware. The more still you become, the wiser you become. Patience ultimately leads to peace in your trading journey. The chaos fades, the fear fades, the confusion fades. You stop fighting the market. You stop fighting yourself. You begin to trade with a sense of inner calm. You begin to trust the process. You begin to accept that everything unfolds in its own time. You realize that you do not need to force anything. You realize that the market will always offer opportunities to those who are patient enough to wait for them. Patience is not optional for traders who want longevity. It is essential. It is not a skill you learn once. It is a practice you return to every day. It is a mindset you cultivate over time. And it is the foundation upon which all other trading skills are built. When you master patience, you master discipline. When you master discipline, you master consistency. When you master consistency, you unlock the possibility of lasting success. Every time you choose to wait, you strengthen the trader you are becoming. Every time you resist an impulsive entry, you build emotional resilience. Every time you pause and breathe instead of reacting, you prove to yourself that you are in control. These moments of patience add up. They accumulate. They form the invisible structure of your growth. And one day you look back and realize that patience did not just change your trading. It changed you. This is Trader's Mind TV, and this is the truth that every trader eventually learns. Patience is profit. Patience is clarity. Patience is mastery. And the journey to becoming a patient trader begins the moment you decide to slow down, breathe, observe, and trust that the market will always reward the trader who knows how to wait.